question number 14, asked by the Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable President.
Honorable members, creating employment, but creating employment particularly for young people and women is the most urgent and critical priority for our country at this moment of the history of our country. The most recent unemployment figures are a clear signal that we cannot continue at the current pace of economic growth. And I must say that our unemployment figures, which I looked at very recently, are quite on the high side, and they are quite worrying. And a number of countries around the world are also experiencing precisely the same type of problem that we are experiencing. We must treat unemployment as a burning platform, a challenge that requires extraordinary measures and exceptional efforts that we need to make to address this. To succeed, it is essential that we understand the causes of the massive unemployment rate in our country, the historical reliance on raw commodity exports, and the deliberate underdevelopment and economic marginalization of the majority of our people resulted in the structural unemployment that has been a prominent feature of our economy since the 1980s. Following the dawn of democracy, we were able to create jobs on a scale never seen before in the history of South Africa. In 1994, so that it is clearly known, in 1994, we had 8.8 million people working in our country. Today, we have 16.3 million people who are in employment. In other words, in 25 years, we have doubled the number of working people in our economy. Despite an absolute increase in the number of people employed, South Africa's unemployment rate has remained stubbornly high as the population has grown and more people have entered the workforce. Put simply, we have not been creating enough jobs to keep up with those people who enter the labor market on an annual basis seeking work. That is why this government is working together with its social partners to address both the immediate economic challenges and, through far-reaching reforms, place the economy on a new path of inclusive growth and job creation. We have prioritized the task of significantly raising the levels of investment in the economy, since it is essential for growth and job creation. One of the ways in which we can increase job creation is through investment. We need to bring investment into our country. We need to get our local companies to invest in the economy, and by so doing, increase the number of people who are employed. There has been enthusiastic response to the call that we have made by both South African businesses and international investors to our plans to hold an investment summit, which we are going to have on the 25th to the 27th of October. We have also been approached by business leaders across the economy, insisting that they want to play, and they are playing their part, working together with government to grow the economy and to create jobs. They too see that the platform is burning, and instead of throwing their hands up in despair, they are determined to be part of the solution. Rather than stand on the sidelines and make a lot of noise, like the noise I'm hearing from this side. They are saying we want to be part of the solution. We want to participate and help everyone in our country to create jobs. In the coming days, Cabinet will be announcing details of a stimulus package to reignite growth and to establish the foundation for a sustained economic recovery plan. This package reprioritizes funds towards initiatives that are labor-intensive, addresses infrastructural needs, and boosts local economies. This is the job of governments. Governments, in their management of the economy, have to take certain initiatives, have to take certain steps. But the government is not alone in all this. The government is not a sole player in the economy of the country. The government is a manager and an actor. The other partners in the economic space must also play their part. And we expect political parties to also play their part and bring forward proposals that have efficacy and that can lead to real job creation. Government will vigorously implement confidence-building measures to unlock private sector resources so that the private sector can have the ability to invest. We are addressing the chief constraints to greater investment and growth. Government is making progress on addressing key policy and regulatory issues that have been raised with us by the business community. Some of them have said, we want to come and invest in South Africa. One of the things that holds us back is your visa regulations, your visa requirements. And we say, okay, we are going to address our visa requirements so that the skilled individuals should come forward and they should come on the back of the investments that various companies want to make. We are going to finalize the mining charter, and we are also going to be publishing the integrated resource plan in a matter of a short time. We will also be making announcements on the allocation of the broadband spectrum, because that too has been raised as a constraint to investment flowing into our country. The Electronic Communications Amendment Bill and the Single Transport Economic Regulator are also going to be matters that we resolve. We do this because the private sector, who we've been interacting with, have raised this as some of the constraints, and we are going to address these issues so that we can unlock the levers that hold our economy back. We're improving governance across the public sector and have moved with speed to tackle one of the constraints that has been holding our economy back, which is corruption. We're also taking measures to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of government at all levels. With many companies contemplating retrenchments, we need to work together as social partners in much the same way as we did in 2008 when the whole world went through a financial crisis, to mitigate the effects of the current economic climate on jobs. And we would say, for those companies that may have plans to retrench workers, we say, hold back. And if you have to, let us find alternative pathways for those workers that may have to lose their jobs. Beyond these measures, we must undertake a fundamental re-engineering of our economy. We are working to build human capabilities through access to high-quality early childhood development. That is a long-term process that we are involved in, but we are going to see benefits flowing out of this. Access to higher education to produce skills that are needed for the future. The youth employment interventions that we are making are also going to improve the employability of young people as we move forward. And we are also reducing barriers of entry for many businesses. And this has been raised by many business people that we've been interacting with. We are doing all this to ensure that there is also stronger competition regulation, the revitalization of our state-owned enterprises, promoting agrarian reform, better spatial planning, improved public transport systems, and development finance and industrial incentives. We are developing the productive base of the economy by enhancing current industrial policy measures. So there are quite a number of things that we are giving attention to. And we are also promoting the growth of labor-intensive sectors like agriculture, services, and tourism. Now, as social partners and as a country, we must respond to the economic difficulties that our country faces right now. And we want to do so with a measure of working together. Yesterday, I had a wonderful meeting with a number of business leaders who, out of their own volition, came forward and say, Mr. President, we want to contribute to job creation. And we believe that if we get a number of big businesses, including small business enterprises, and we pull together, we will be able to bring to you a proposal which will lift job creation in our country. Now, that is the type of patriotic voice that we want to hear in our country, where business people come forward and say, we want to make a contribution, rather than sit on the sidelines, continue to make noise, and not put any plan on the table. I want those who have plans to be brought to the table so that we can act and take South Africa forward. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Maimane, the Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, there's a famous saying that says, you can either make a noise or make a difference. And I tell you what, from that side of the House, sorry.
Order, honorable members. We need to hear the Leader of the Opposition.
Since 2009, I've listened to enough noise about summits, about 9-point plans, yet still today, 9.6 million South Africans are unemployed. Here's my challenge to you, Mr. President. Here's the difference. When we talk about the difference, is the fact that 75% of all new jobs created in South Africa have been created by DA-led governments. In fact, in Johannesburg alone, in this last quarter, we've seen an increase of about 100,000 new jobs under DA-led government. That's the difference we are talking about. But let me tell you how it works. It works on the basis of building a capable state, eradicating corruption, and actually ensuring that you give policy certainty, which we've done. My question to you, Mr. President, is simply this: that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and hoping for a different outcome, or keeping the same people and hoping for a different outcome. Here is my challenge. In your cabinet, you've kept Mr. Visa debacle himself, Malusi Gigaba. You've kept a confused economic cluster with the same ministers and increased unemployment. I want to know, are you hoping to kickstart the economy and change our trajectory? Are you willing to change the same cabinet ministers who served under Zuma and brought us to this problem? Can we bring change so we can get a new economic trajectory? I thank you very much.
The Honorable the President.
Quite frankly, thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Maimane. You know, for a moment, I thought that I would hear pearls of wisdom. Just for a moment, just as you stood upright, I said, wow, today I am going to hear something completely different from what I've heard in the past. So I've waited with an open hand for some pearls of wisdom from you, and I have not heard anything wiser that you have said. And I regret to say that all you are saying, you are playing the people or the man, and you are not talking to the substantive issues that have to do with economic growth. Now we are managing the African National Congress. Maybe you didn't listen carefully. The African National Congress has been governing this country from 1994. And from 1994, it has doubled the number of people who are working here in South Africa. And that is what we intend to continue doing. The people of our country continue to invest confidence in the ANC because they see that it is the ANC that has clear policies, that is taking real initiatives to change the trajectory of our country. Where would we be today if the ANC had not changed the trajectory of the South African economy? We would not be here. Where would the 8 million people who today have been employed since 1994 be? They would be unemployed. We are committed to continue creating jobs, and what we are doing is to put in place durable, sustainable building blocks that are going to continue to make our economy grow. Now, maybe next week you may well have better ideas. If you wake up on the right side of the bed, bring them to me, and then we will see if they are implementable. But for now, you have disappointed me. I have not had any better idea from you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.